I don't know why I'm seeing this weird comparison with this film and Fast and Furious, saying this film is basically Fast and Furious. Like, bro, they're both action movies. This film is what Fast and Furious X wishes it was. By the way, there's a car chase scene in Rome like Fast X. Pretty mad that this movie's version is way more entertaining, more than the film that's supposedly supposed to be about cars. But back to focus on Mission Impossible 7A, because compared to some other two-parter film, this film completely lets you know from the start that this is a two-parter. And the film's fantastic. From the way it starts, the opening scene was just really well done. There was that certain tension for me in that scene, which carried on to most of the scenes in the movie. Not all of them, but most of them. I don't know. It just felt real and won me over from the start. There was this whole sequence in an airport and they were supposed to accomplish a certain task. And the way they planned it out, it felt a bit like they were going to repeat a certain mission scheme from a previous film, which made me worried, but it didn't happen. But around that scene, we also get to see everyone. We see Ethan, we see Benji, we see Vin Grimm's character. Did not watch the trailer for this film prior, so I was just expecting Jeremy Renner to be in this film for some weird reason. But besides all of that, the cast is really great again. Even some people like Kittredge that came back from the first film, really good. I love the way they introduced Grace's character too, which was played by Hayley Atwell. It was just really well done. Her entire character done really well. She felt sort of like a Todd D. Newton from the second film, rather than a Rebecca Ferguson in Mission Impossible 5. I love just the way they expressed that in some aspects, like the Rome sequence, but in other aspects you could call a bit of boo here and there. But speaking of Rebecca Ferguson, she's in this. There's a sense of trust. There's much more of a sense of trust you get from her, unlike the previous two, albeit I can't really remember what happened in the previous two. Netflix took out Fallout when I was about to go rewatch it. But I don't know, there's just a sense of she's more of a friend rather than she's trying to backstab them every 10 seconds. She also had this like really cool scene towards the end when like she's fighting with a sword, can I say? It reminded me of John Wick. I don't know. It was just cool. But now I'm going to talk about the villain. The secondary villain in the film is something the film could have done without, because they didn't really explore that person in the best way. But it's also something the film needed. So I hope in the second part they do more for that character, because that character really needs justice and a reason and a proper motive on that, But the main villain wouldn't give a lot away because it wasn't in the trailer, but technically you should know who it is, because I don't know. But after watching the pilot series, I got the sense that this time, like when we got introduced to the whole main villain, I got the sense there would be this unpredictability within the team where they plan stuff, like how they tried to do in the pilot of the 88 series. Then we can talk about the stunt, which was, as most films in this franchise are, it was great. Even the main one that happened with him like jumping off a cliff, that was just incredible. The whole cinematography, not only in that scene but like in the entire film, was just amazing. Certain shots were so good that they could like literally tell a bit of the story just with the lens and everything. Really well done. Whoever the cinematographer was for this film really did a great job. I give him that. And the movie ends it actually ends, not a super conclusive ending, but compared to the previous one-parters that came out, this movie actually ends, and it didn't give like a cliffhanger or anything. The film just gave me more of a, I want to see what's next. Like, even if it wasn't a part one, I feel like I would have still been as excited to see the sequel, rather than the sequel depending on, not really going to say that that's what it was for the other two, but like rather than its sequel depending on the cliffhanger. It didn't really have a cliffhanger at the end of the day. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's also crazy because this is now the one that is coming out probably before the other two. And it's a really long film, longer than the previous one. And for me personally, I feel it was paced really well for that length. I don't know, it gave me this sense of, I just kept on wanting more. And it's only 2 films. Even Guardians didn't make me feel that way, but like it's only 2 films that have made me feel this way, and it's a really good film. As I have said this for a lot of films, it's up there with John Wick 4 and Spider-Verse as one of my favorite films of the year. And we could get a double banger next week too. Cinema is back, like for real. But that's my opinion of the film. I would love to know yours, and what's your favorite Mission Impossible film? Personally, mine is still Ghost Protocol. Super sentimental with that film, but if you haven't gone to see this film, go watch it. It's a really good film. Go to the cinema like Tom Cruise says and just experience this film. Really good. And I'll see you in the next one.